next guest is a global pop icon. Boy George is known for as much for his music as his bold fashion statements.
For more than 30 years, he's been entertaining us as a member of Culture Club and as a solo artist. Now he is in Australia. He's a karma chameleon, a singer with a style like no other.
Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry?
As the frontman of Culture Club, Boy George became an international sensation in the 80s. He sold more than 150 million records and won Brit and Grammy Awards.
I make mistake number 3, yeah.
Boy George's colourful presence on stage has been just as colourful off. He battled a drug addiction and his run-ins with the law made him a paparazzi target. But now the entertainer is back on the charts with his first studio album in 18 years, called This Is What I Do.
What's the word on the street? Have I lost my crown? Will I be king of everything?
Wow, Boy George joins us now from Melbourne, looking absolutely sensational. Mate, you look trim, taut and terrific. What inspired your dramatic weight loss?
That's a funny opening question.
Well, you look great.
Well, you do.
You looked as though you were going downhill for a while, and you're big
Well,
time.
that answers your question, I think. I think that answers your question. It's kind of, that question is the question that kind of answers itself, really.
Well, what turned you around? You looked as though you're on the slippery slope there for a while.
Yeah, well, you know, here we are. You know, moving on.
Well, it's good. It's good that you're back. It's good that you look so fit and healthy.
Thank
and
you.
you really are as much a fashion icon as a pop music icon. When you see that story that we just ran, does it just spin you out all those different looks you had? And tell us about your latest look.
Well, I mean, I'm not really that interested in fashion as such. I mean, I kind of just do my own thing. I don't often see people looking like me anywhere. You know, I just kind of do my own thing. It's not really... Fashion's about kind of wearing money, isn't it? Like how expensive my handbag is and all of that. So I think what I do is more kind of quirky, off-the-wall kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, tell us about the new album. You've said it is not overproduced. Will your fans be surprised by the content?
Well, the reaction in the UK has been really good. We did a little tour just before Christmas, which was great, and you know, we did a lot of the new material live, which is always challenging for for an audience, but it seemed to kind of get a great reaction. And you know, the album's sort of coming out around the rest of the world now. It comes out in America this week, so it's a very exciting time, you know.
The charts right now are dominated by artists like Katy Perry, Rihanna, Beyonce. Are you a fan of today's pop landscape?
Well, I don't really listen to the radio because I DJ. A lot of my kind of musical references are dance acts. So, although I do know all of those people, I've heard of them. But because I don't listen to the radio, I don't know who's who and how many records they're selling or how popular they are. But I know that when I made this record, I didn't want to sort of try and compete with the kind of youngsters, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I kind of went back to the sort of music I was listening to when I was a teenager in the 70s. The 70s was really my beginning of when I fell in love with music. So sort of Bowie, kind of early sort of ska and reggae. I went back to all the things that I fell in love with as a kid rather than sort of trying to be like sort of hip, because I think it's a bit like your nan wearing a boob tube trying to be all trendy, you know.
I love it. Look, fame has had its ups and downs for you. You've sort of been through your bad boy stage. Is that behind you? Have you... You know, we're talking about Justin Bieber today.
Yeah.
You know, who's acting like a real prat. Is that just part of dealing with fame?
Well, he's very young, you know, and I think there's a lot of pressure. I think the pressure these days is more, you know. I mean, it was bad enough back in the day for me. I wasn't much older than him, but I think the stakes are higher now, and I think people get famous quicker. They make more money now quicker. And I just think, you know, you do wonder who's kind of looking after him because, you know, I don't know whether he's kind of got. It's a difficult one because, you know, how do you tell somebody with millions of pounds, you know, what to do? You know, you're going to lose your job. But I think stuff like this, you know, showing him, you know, in lawyers' offices, I mean, it feels like the law is becoming another branch of showbiz. I mean, I just think this stuff shouldn't be made public.
Yeah.
It's private, you know, otherwise you're going to end up not taking the law seriously, and you want to take it seriously, you know, and when you see this, it's like, who cares? You
But
know?
he manages a lot of this. Like, he puts a lot of stuff out there as well, and he's huge on Twitter, and, you know, I think he does. I know he's not a kid anymore, but he does seem like a kid.
I don't think he put the video of himself peeing in the police station out, though. I think that's probably taking it a little too far.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. I mean, yeah, I know he's not helping himself, and you know, I've been there, so I understand, you know, what that's like. You know, and it's very difficult for someone around you to tell you what to do. I think in my case, you know, I mean, I'm not Justin Bieber, unfortunately. You know, it's been a lot of growing up for me. You know, I've grown up a lot in the last 5 or 6 years. You know, I think men take longer to mature. I think, you know, and when you're in the public eye, it's almost like you kind of remain in a little bit in infancy. You know, you don't really grow up because you know you're not living in the real world. And so I think it just takes a bit longer. You know, I hope that he gets through it. You know, because he's obviously talented. You know, he plays instruments. He's got a great voice. He's a good-looking kid. You know, let's hope that he gets through this with.
And matures a bit. Hey, what about Culture Club? All sorts of bands from the 70s and 80s are getting back together again and touring. Any chance of a reunion tour by Culture Club?
Well, we wouldn't be doing a kind of nostalgia thing. I think, you know, for me, like, nostalgia is kind of purgatory, you know. People are obsessed with the 80s. I mean, we are going to do some new music, absolutely. But it will be new music, and we'll do, you know, when we do our shows, we'll obviously do the hits. I do that in my shows, but not nostalgia. You know, not interested in nostalgia. I'm very into now.
Yeah.
We love a bit of nostalgia, though, George.
Yeah, but too much of it's really bad for you.
Okay,
Sure.
all right.
But,
it's like your nan in a boob tube. That's what we're taking away from this today.
Do you still get on? Do you still keep in touch? You're close?
Yeah, we get on very well now. Now that we've all grown up a bit, we get on very well. Yeah, I mean, we've been writing recently, and actually it was a really enjoyable experience, which is a big, big change for all of us, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fabulous.
George, I want to ask you about the makeup. I think it was the BAFTAs the other day, and you had a black eye, and I was a bit worried, because I thought you genuinely had a black eye. It was makeup.
It was makeup,
Why are you doing that?
I think, you know, I had a quiff, and I thought it was kind of quite sort of Fonzie. I thought, you know, black eye and a quiff, it was quite rock and roll.
It was
so it was just a fashion statement.
Okay.
Yeah, we thought you'd gone back to Bad Boy George.
No, it was literally just like a kind of little quirky, you know.
Oh.
I hate to have to explain the way I look. You know, it's just me doing my thing.
Sorry. I was just so puzzled. I was worried someone had bopped you, but that's all right.
Love
You're
you,
okay.
Yeah, it was just Rimmel.
Phew.
Mate, it's great to catch up. Enjoy the rest of your time here in Australia.
Thank you very much. Really nice to be here. God bless.
Yeah,
Bye.
good on you. What a lovely fellow.
Wasn't that good?
Yeah.
Speaks well, presents well. It's terrific.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
Good to see him happy and healthy. And,
Exactly.